First off, you need to realize that the media is desperately trying to bait a Trump versus DeSantis fight. Desperately. And there are some people who call themselves Republicans that are not helping, that are dumb enough to take this bait. It's stupid. I wrote about this in my newsletter this morning. This is stupid, and this idea that you have to pledge allegiance to someone else over someone else is the most un-American thing I've ever heard of. We have a great bench. Why can't we just brag about that? But this is what the left wants us to do. And there are people who are like, all right. I've seen it happening. There are people I know that are trying to fan, that are friends of mine, trying to fan this flame. Why? Do not buy this nonsense. Here's the thing. Only Trump knows if he's going to run or not. I saw this piece from Axios where they're saying, oh, Trump is mad that DeSantis won't say that he won't run against him, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. First off, because it's Axios. And secondly, that doesn't sound like I've known Trump for over a decade. I've known him personally over a decade. When I was still just a St. Louis radio host, he was on my show. So, and he was on it regularly. That sounds like a very anti-Trumpian thing because that's bad strategy. That's just crap strategy. I think that they would want it to be as vague as possible. They don't want any of that to be. I mean, there was the soundbite that they had yesterday, and this is all they have to go on, where Trump made a comment where it was some politicians who didn't reveal their vaccination statuses. And he said that they were gutless. And then he was saying, there have been lives saved by the vaccines. Here's the thing. You realize that you can simultaneously believe. And look, you guys know I think it's a therapeutic and not actually anything that induces immunity. That being said, because you have to spell things out because everything is stupid today. That being said, you can believe that vaccines help people that have comorbidities and can aid those symptoms, while also simultaneously believing that the government should not force this stuff. You can believe both of these things at the same time. And so when he said this, people, and by people I mean MSNBC and CNN and Vox and the like, they were saying, oh, that's a pot shot at Ron DeSantis, which didn't make sense even at the time that they were saying that. It didn't make sense that was a pot shot at Ron DeSantis, because DeSantis has literally talked about his vaccination status before. And he was saying that he thinks the elderly and people who are dealing with life-threatening diseases, that he believed that they should get vaccinated, but it's their choice. I mean, people forget, by the way, that there was this whole thing on 60 Minutes where they were trying to accuse him of giving preferential treatment to like the villages and stuff. Right? I mean, it was crazy. So I think that that's such a stretch to assume that Trump was talking about DeSantis, but the New York Times and MSNBC were really pushing this narrative. And then they put out, you had Maggie Haberman, who's at the New York Times. She had all these tweets where she was saying that Trump was mad that DeSantis has refused to rule out a 2024 run. Now, here's the thing. There's some things to understand and things, and then also things that are completely fictional that are very specious in this whole discussion. Trump's greatest, and he and I are not dissimilar in this regard. The thing that he values most about somebody is their loyalty, first and foremost. Secondly, remember what I was saying last week about how all the criticism of his, people were saying that he was mean with his remarks or mean on Twitter. He never actually punched down at voters. He always kept his fights to politicians and other people that were part of the system. So that's not any different than this. I mean, he will always fight like that with people that are in either the system or that are elected officials. And I do think that it is not beyond the realm of possibility that there is some kind of tension between the Trump camp and maybe the DeSantis camp, because if 2024 is a question, there could be some rivalry. But this push that Trump is just out there attacking DeSantis on issues that pull so incredibly well with the majority of Americans is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and it's so anti-Trumpian.